Hi, I'm Simon Marsh, Chair of the Mercia Region of the Battlefields Trust. Today I'm visiting the Civil War battlefield of Chalgrove in Oxfordshire. The battle was fought on the 18th of June 1643 and saw the Royalists defeat the Parliamentarians and mortally wound John Hampden, one of the architects of Parliament's revolts against the King. This is the Hampden Memorial on the edge of the battlefield, erected in the 19th century by Lord Nugent. And here is the information board about the battle that the Chalgrove Battlefield Group installed. The battle at Chalgrove came about as a result of a raid on parliamentarian outposts led by the King's nephew, Prince Rupert. He had with him around 1,100 cavalry, 350 dragoons, which were mounted infantry which rode to battle and then fought on foot, and 500 musketeers. Rupert was supposed to have been trying to capture a parliamentarian pay convoy destined for the army headquarters at Thame in Buckinghamshire. Rupert failed to find the convoy and was pursued and caught by about 1,150 parliamentarian cavalry and dragoons from Thame and the surrounding area, as he headed back to Oxford with parliamentarian prisoners caught at Chinnor and elsewhere during the raid. Let's go and look at the approach to the battle. I am now looking toward Easington and Golder Manor, with Golder Hill behind. It was down Golder Hill the parliamentarians chased after Rupert and his men, but the Royalists were on one side of a great hedge which marked the parish boundary, and the parliamentarians on the other. Just behind me was Warp's Grove House, in the field you can see here. Close by were some trees where the parliamentarians deployed a reserve of cavalry during the battle. Let's turn and see the Great Hedge. The remnant of the Great Hedge is the line of trees and bushes you can see just across the field. It would have been an impenetrable barrier between the Royalists and parliamentarians, and the only gap in the hedge was where Warp's Grove Lane ran. Prince Rupert sent back toward Oxford his musketeers and dragoons with the prisoners he had captured. He then seems to have placed his cavalry facing the gap in the hedge to allow these men time to withdraw and cover his line of retreat. I am now walking up to where the gap in the hedge would have been. You can see the remnants of the hedge on the right. Any attempt by the parliamentarians to send their troopers through the gap in the hedge would have been overwhelmed by the Royalists, so the two sides faced each other. Rupert then rode away, and the parliamentarians pursued him, but after a short distance he turned and formed up behind a small hedge. The parliamentarians sent forward their dragoons to fire through the hedge at the Royalists, but before they could do so, Rupert jumped the hedge on his horse with a few of his troopers and scattered the enemy dragoons. The remainder of Rupert's cavalry came round the side of the hedge and formed up to face the parliamentarians, somewhere in the ground you can see now. Rupert charged Parliament's cavalry, who received the attack standing still, firing their pistols and carbines, or harquebuses as they were known. A short fight ensued, but the Royalists had more cavalry and benefited from the shock of their charge, which was probably executed more at the trot, and forced the parliamentarian cavalry to run away. Although losses were relatively light on both sides, during the fighting John Hampden was badly wounded in the arm, from which injury he died in Thame 6 days later. There has been some debate about where the battle was actually fought. The Chalgrove Battlefield Group suggests the location was across a hedge lining this track. But it may have been a few hundred metres to the southwest, in the area you can see here. Until an archaeological survey is conducted, we probably won't know for sure. The battle was similar to a number of small actions fought on the borders of Royalist Oxfordshire and Parliamentarian South Buckinghamshire during the Civil War. Hampden's wounding and subsequent death was the most significant outcome of the fighting, but it would, no doubt, have affected morale in Parliament's army, which was already suffering from widespread disease and poor supply. That's the end of my visit to Chalgrove. If you'd like to learn more about the battle or the Battlefields Trust, why not visit the Battlefields Trust website at www.battlefieldstrust.com.